Welcome to the Red Letters Podcast. In this podcast, we will explore topics that can be life-transforming while delivering a message of hope.
Thank you for joining us on this week's podcast. Today, we're going to be looking at mentorship. What is a good mentor? How to find a good mentor? And I know a lot of times in the church world, we use that as somebody that will disciple you or take you under their wing. There's a lot of different ways to put it, but mentoring, just the definition, is an experienced and trusted advisor. So it's normally somebody that's went before you, that has passed through experiences, has more knowledge, and can kind of lead you through what you're going through in a successful way. And most of the time you want to try to, just my thought, you want to kind of make sure that they went through it successfully themselves, because a lot of times people have theories, they have ideas, but they haven't taken that journey. And I think that journey a lot of times kind of is a proof. I don't know if they call it the proof in the pudding or something like that, but just to see, that what advice they're giving you is something that's actually going to be tangible and can help you move forward in whatever area that is.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you said it's somebody that's experienced something and has gone through it and overcame it. I think that's important because a lot of us will get that knowledge from however we were being raised or whatever we did in life, and we want to mentor others doing what we did and messed up our own lives. So I love that you said you go through the experience, but then you also go and you seek knowledge. I would say you for me, it was seeking what did the Word of God say about this? Because I had heard other things and I was going based on those things, but I wasn't really doing anything good for my life in regards to parenting, in regards to relationships. So now I feel that I'm equipped with what I need to be able to mentor others because I've gone through the fire and I'm still standing.
You didn't get burnt.
I didn't get burnt, yeah.
Yeah, I know when I was younger, I didn't really know what a mentor was or anything like that, but I've mentioned in other podcasts that my two uncles and my aunt, for that fact, were always kind of like side bumpers. Like if you're going bowling, you don't want to scratch and not get any points. So you have these bumpers that will help you knock down these pins. And they were kind of like those bumpers in my life, those buffers that kind of keep me lined up and try to keep me in the right lane. And I would actually go to them too. And I think one of the reasons why I would go to them is because they turned around and poured into me first.
Right.
And I think because they poured into me and pursued a relationship with me, and even to this day, it's more like a brothers and sister kind of relationship because of those deposits they put in my life.
So it's earning your trust,
exactly.
Tony, right?
Yeah.
So they had to earn your trust in order to give you and guide you the way they were.
Yeah. So then it made it that much easier to seek their advice, because I already felt that they had my best interest in mind already, because they cared enough to love me when I was not sure what to do, how to function. And, so I think that's important to, a mentor, I think, should be somebody that is willing to pour into you and, lead and guide you in the direction and have your best interest in mind.
Always have the best interest, the person's best interest. Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
What makes a good mentor, I think, is commitment and quality time. And the time you spend, the time you invest in that relationship, and looking back at Jesus and him walking with his disciples, he's pretty much slept, ate, and drank with them, and I believe that really, really what makes a good mentor is you can have all the knowledge and wisdom, but I think it's what's more important is the quality time and the effort you take to spend with them, building them up, encouraging them, and helping them through whatever situation they're going through, or training them up to be able to step into their purpose.
One thing that I've noticed a lot of times people want to give you their opinions. They want to tell you what to do, but they don't really. They want to just kind of put their knowledge on display,
right?
And indirectly show how much they know. But there was a core value in a church that me and my family used to go to, and they said people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And I think that when you find a mentor, and they're not always the easiest to find, but I think when you do find one, I would grab a hold of them. I have mentors in my life up to this day because I know how important it is. Building a relationship with a mentor can keep you from wasting a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache, just because you have somebody that you could seek direction for beforehand. You know, a lot of times people want to get advice when they're in the rut or they're stuck and they are not sure what to do. And yes, a mentor comes in and they could help you at that point. But if you utilize a mentor to prevent some of them pitfalls in life, I think that's where the benefit of having a mentor and having those open lines of communication are amazing. Like I mentioned earlier, like my uncle, one of them, I don't talk to every day, but I could just call him after 2 months, and he just lives like one exit away on the freeway. But I could give him a call, and no matter what advice I need, I know all of a sudden he could just turn around and tell me exactly what I need to do. And I think one of the things that I actually learned from him, now that I'm thinking about it, is a mentor is good at listening. Because a lot of times a mentor wants to, again, tell you everything they want to know, but half the time, if a mentor listens, they can give better advice. I think that's where wisdom kicks in. And because you're hearing the full story, you're feeling what this person is feeling so that you could turn around and give back some information that can catapult them forward instead of trip them up just because, you know, I know a thing or two. I've read this book and I could tell you everything even though I haven't applied it.
Right. And you know what, Tony, I'll go a little bit further with that, what you just said about a mentor can give the advice. And because they're great listeners, but I love when a mentor can actually sit there and listen to an individual and hear what the individual's not saying to get the individual to hear himself say it.
Oh, that's good.
So I love that part of my job is listening to someone, but getting out of them what they know is there, yet they won't speak it out. Because it doesn't do me any good to help them, like advise them on this or advise them on that. What does me good, not proper English, what makes me feel better about myself and the work that I do is getting that individual to see it for themselves. Is being able to, oh, it was in me all along.
Kind of self-discover, sort of.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, when they're able to do that. And for mentors, also what you said about getting good mentors, I have a really great mentor. He knows, and sometimes he doesn't realize that he is, but that's my pastor, Pastor Mario.
Yeah.
I remember seeing his family and hearing his story, and he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. So for me, that was important because I didn't meet a whole lot of people in my life like that. Him and his wife, where they talked about the type of family they were and the type of father he was. But then he had to do a transformation, but he had to work in himself. And he became this father that he wanted to see in other men. And she became this mother she wanted to see in other women. So, and they also became this couple, this married, you know, they have a marriage, but they wanted to build on that marriage. And now they counsel other marriages, but because they've been through it. It's not just head knowledge, we're walking it out. So that's what I strive to do within my own family, in me, is be that person that I'm not just sitting here and giving you head knowledge. I'm living it out. I'm living proof that this works because I had to do it first. So when I see them and I hear him talk, he knows it. So it's not, if he happens to listen, it's not something that I'm saying behind his back. For the first 2 years when I sat at church, I didn't believe anything that he was saying. I couldn't. I was like, yeah, right, that happened. Yeah, right. You were that kind of father. Because I believed that pastors had it good from birth, like you just have a good life. So when he would talk about what he went through, and then what he had to go through to become that person that he wanted, that father that he wanted to be, that, you know, that husband, I was like, okay, but he had to do the work. He had to do the work. So he is one of my greatest mentors, him and his wife. And then I have another one, but he's one of the ones that really stands out to me because I see them almost on a weekly basis, and they're always walking out what they speak.
That's amazing. One thing, because I've heard some people, like speaking of our pastor, I know that he said that one of his greatest mentors is somebody that he follows through YouTube, which is Dr. Miles Monroe.
Right.
So of course, we would all like to have the the hands-on interaction with someone and have them mentor us. And that's the desire, that's the goal. But we could also get mentored, like how he mentioned, through YouTube. I'm not saying that, like some people, they're in a place where they can't even quite go to church. So they're in a situation where they almost have to listen online, and they glean from that and collect some information to help them do better in life as well. So I think that there's other ways to be mentored, that we can't just put it in a box and say it has to be a person hands-on, because there's a time and place that you could have, like I'm sure he has his pastor, and then he also gets mentored, like I said, through YouTube and stuff like that. So you can have different ways of being mentored, and that whole group together is the mentorship that you built to help you move forward in life,
to become a better version of yourself.
And then that could even be like a certain author that feeds you and leads and guides you. But again, I think the end goal, of course, is probably somebody that you can interact with. That's always, I guess, the best mentor.
Yes. So I do life coaching, Tony. I know you guys probably know that. And some of the comments, because I'll refer some of my clients, I said, you know what? You would find this on YouTube and it's really great. They're like, yeah, but no one's interacting with me. So I get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, there's no feedback. There's no, am I doing something that I'm supposed to be doing? And I get it. So that's why we're here. We can all, if you guys need to reach out. But at the end of the day, if you have nothing else and you can't afford it, go to YouTube, because it really, like everything that we want to know, it's on there. We're doing the family series at church right now, and I know that Tony's going to be speaking here soon.
Same with you.
So for mine, I love that you mentioned Dr. Miles Monroe, because what most of my teaching will be from what I've learned from him. I remember a long time ago, like a great mentor that Pastor Mario has been and is. He mentioned this in 2016 when I started going to church, and I started listening to him, and I didn't believe what he had to say either. But you'll see why I didn't believe what he had to say is because of my own crap that I was carrying with me. But I love one of the things that I'll be talking and discussing is information, knowledge, and wisdom, and how to obtain it and how to apply it. And because I think that that's important when we've gone and we have a blueprint for our life, and this is the way we live it. But when you seek out information, you're going to transform that blueprint. You're going to break it down, because the information that you were carrying is not taking you anywhere. So then the knowledge is what you're going to use to be that person you want to become, and the wisdom is what you're going to start to apply. And what I want is godly wisdom, because I've heard what the world has to say, and now I seek that wisdom from the Bible and what my mentors have to say.
Yeah. And one other thing, I think, when we're all in the process of being mentored, we could seek like if we have a question, we have a challenge, we could always seek what is the answer? Yeah. But I think the better question is, why is that answer the best answer? Because I think you can be mentored or mentor someone, and it's almost like you could just do the programming where, do this, do that. And you whether you're there on the receiving end or the giving end. But I think helping understand the why, I think, makes the big difference, because then, like, there's some younger guys that I'm actually kind of, I guess, mentoring, if you will. And I think when I spend the time explaining the why, it's funny because they'll start thinking like I'm thinking, not just believing what I'm saying. Right. So I think explaining the why on either end, whether you're receiving or giving mentorship, I think is another high quality to put on the table, because then they're able to reproduce and walk out why you do what you do. And they kind of like get into your brain in a sense to think, okay, what would this person do? Because there's certain times that I've done that. And I put one of my mentors in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, if this person was in this situation, what would they do? What would they do? And I think that helps a lot, because then it cultivates a whole different mindset, instead of just programming somebody to do the things that are right and not to do the things that are wrong.
That's so good. Well, Ida said something earlier about the mentorship, and this is why I struggled a lot to mentor, was because I didn't believe in myself and what I had to offer. But exactly what you said earlier, Ida, about Jesus mentored the 12, right? but not all 12 continue to follow Jesus. Okay. So for me, it was that story that impacted me a long time ago. And I said, well, you can only give the information and you can only be there as a soundboard and you can be there to listen. But if the individual doesn't want the information, there's not much you can do about it. You did your part. If your gifting wasn't talking to somebody else and building somebody else up, but that person didn't want to walk that out, there's nothing you can do. And you can't feel guilty for it. You can't be the one that say, well, you know what, I should have done this or I should have done that differently. You're the mentor. You are the one providing guidance and providing just that listening, that ear for this individual to kind of like, okay, this is what's going on. That person can walk away saying, what she said was so crappy. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. That's fine. I did it for 2 years sitting at church. Like, this is crap. I'm not listening to it. I don't believe it. But I kept coming back because there had to be something there. There had to be something there, and I wanted this something different. So for those of you who hold back and say, I could offer, like Tony, you said, I get into their mind, and I love that because I've done it so many times. Like, what would he or she do? And for those of you, just know you could be that great sounding board, that great person that could guide somebody, but be willing to do it. Don't shut yourself off saying, well, what if I gave them the wrong information? If you do it with well intentions, if you do it with a pure heart, you're not doing it to hurt somebody else. You're doing it to help somebody else get through a situation that they're facing at that time. So I think, like, don't ever hold back and say, well, I'm not qualified, or I don't have this, or I don't know that. If someone is asking you, they obviously see something in you that they felt that, that security within them to come and talk to you. So be that person for somebody else. What they do with the information is totally up to them, but you can be that person for somebody else.
And a mentor will always tell you the things that you need to hear, not the things that you want to hear.
No, it's the other way around. I'm so sorry.
No,
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, okay. But
yes,
either way,
No, you're so right. You should say that again,
okay. A good mentor will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear.
Those are your friends.
Yeah.
Your friends just want to tell you what you want to hear because they're your friends. But a good mentor will always
tell you what you need to hear.
Yes, exactly.
and I think another good quality of mentorship is that they're not really there to tell you, do this.
No.
I think a good mentor and mentorship is you bring them to the crossroads. You say, hey, here's your two choices. Here's the fruit of each choice. What do you think you should do?
You lead by example.
Yeah, you lead by example as well. But I think it's important to have them make the decision as well, because when if you're mentoring someone and you're telling them what to do, and if it doesn't pan out right, you're going to be the one that they're going to be pointing the finger to and say, it's your fault. You told me.
But Jesus never told his disciples what to do all the time.
No, he did
led by example. You know what I mean? But all his actual disciples did fall. They stumbled, but only one of them didn't take his advice. That was Judas.
But the
and that's
crazy
the one
thing,
that turned away from him.
I actually got that thought about the why in the road and bringing them thinking about Jesus, because he never told them what to do. He here, come follow me. It's a choice.
Right.
You see what I mean? So mentorship is all about a choice. But thinking about that, for the person that says that, hey, I have a mentor and it's not even close to what you guys are talking about, is there a way to have a mentorship in process that's actually toxic?
Well, yeah, because if you think of therapists, a lot of therapists, depending on what they bring to the table, is they have to work based on an insurance, whatever the insurance is telling them to do. So it's not more the intention of what is going to better this individual. It's what is the insurance paying for. And what, they go based on that. So that a lot of people say, well, I have a great mentor and it's my therapist. Oh, I'm sorry, but it doesn't always work that way. I'll just say this real quick. My primary care was the best primary care in the world because every time I went to go see her, I go to my yearly physicals and whatnot. She would always say, Mary, always look at something else. Don't just take the advice that I have for you because there's so much out there. And she said, and if somebody's telling you something that doesn't sit well with you, always get a second opinion. And that was for anything, mental health, body health, physical, whatever. And she was really quick to say something like that. And she said, even a medical professional could be giving you the wrong advice based on what your insurance qualifies you for.
Okay.
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
But that's true. And if we think about certain mentors, like somebody in the church, if they're going through something, they're just going to tell you what you want to hear, because they're already going through something, and I'm done with this. So, and I use that because I congregate more at a church. But if you would think about stuff like that, it's like, could it be a toxic relationship when it's not benefiting you anymore, and you see that there's no growth? I think that's when those lines are blurred. It's like, okay, is this toxic? Is this helping me?
Yeah, that or even control.
Yeah.
If they're controlling you and you don't really get to think for yourself, and that kind of gets undermined because they have an agenda, like kind of like what you're saying, whether it's monetary, or whatever. It's just something to keep in mind when you have a mentor, to make sure that that's not something that's happening. If so, then hey, a red flag's waving in the air.
Yes, exactly.
Would you say in order to grow, whether it's in like your everyday life or in church, spiritually speaking, you have to have a mentor? I have a lot of friends that will have openly told me, like, I don't have a mentor, I never had one, and I don't think I need one. So what would be your response to that?
I personally think yes, I would need a mentor, because what I believed so long to be true wasn't the truth. And I never attended a church, but I can tell you something. It was religion, what I was doing. It was religious because I was religiously doing the wrong thing over and over and over. So having a mentor basically gave me that guidance to, is like, what you believe in, Mary, and what you were actually doing was actually incorrect, and it doesn't serve not even you, not even me as the individual. So it was having to see that and go through that to understand that what I was doing and what I had come to believe was the truth was all a lie. So for me, yeah, I needed that mentor. And there's some people that probably have it all together, I don't know, and don't need a mentor. And we just get the information, and some people can get the information and apply it and not even question it. I believe there's some people like that. I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
So for me, I personally say, yes, I did need a mentor.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to say the opposite, but with a reason. You don't have to have a mentor, but know that you're going to have a tougher time going through life. I think a mentor is recommended at every level, but for the people that say they don't need a mentor, okay, you're going to go through a lot of extra hard times. You're going to waste a lot more money. I have a relative that I had a conversation with, and I saw that they never wanted to get opinions from nobody. They didn't want to hear counseling from anybody. And I said, listen, I'm just heart to heart, I love you, but you're going to end up spending more money in life because you don't ask nobody for any kind of, hey, what should I do? You just want to go through things the hard way. You're going to have a lot of heartache. You're going to make a lot more mistakes. And that's what's in store for the people that say, I don't need a mentor.
I don't need anybody.
So I'm saying you don't need it, but be prepared for all the extra stuff that you're going to have to go through, because even the Bible says that there's safety in a multitude of counselors. And it says that for a reason. If you don't want to have counselors, mentors, somebody discipling you, however you want to call it, go ahead. You're just going to have a rougher journey in life because you choose to be a long ranger, and you're going to, handle everything your own self, but it's not going to really benefit you at all not having a mentor.
But I think sometimes letting somebody fall and make mistakes is healthy, because I think if you want to look back too, mentoring starts in your home. It starts with even us as parents, with our children. You know what I mean? And let's say if we're constantly on somebody telling them, oh no, this is right, this is it, and you're not letting them think for themselves and take that knowledge and meditate on it and then turn around and apply it. But sometimes they're gonna, have that feeling, because me personally, I didn't have a mentor growing up. Both my parents weren't really mentors for me. I didn't, I learned a lot from you because this man's always attaining, watching all kinds of videos and information. But a lot of my information I attained either from reading my Bible or by watching videos, other speakers or preachers and things like that. But I've made mistakes down the road, and I didn't apply some of that knowledge that was given to me, but it just made me better now, you know what I mean? And stronger. And I think it's not always bad to make mistakes.
No, it's not that, but I think you're proving what I just said to be true. Because in your younger life, when you didn't have mentorship, you've said multiple times, even on other podcasts, how you wish your parents disciplined you, where they would have been there for you. That's mentorship that you didn't have. So
it was mentorship. It just wasn't the correct one.
Yeah,
But in reality, truthfully, all of us, how many of us honestly walk that straight path, without making mistakes? I mean, honestly, every one of us have that little bit of you know what I mean? I'm going to do it my way and stuff like that. I don't think everybody's perfect in that.
No, I don't think anybody is perfect, actually.
I don't think anybody is.
But that goes to prove so I'm just going to go back to what I had said. I believe that there are people who don't need mentors if you think you don't need them, but I believe everyone could benefit from a mentor.
I agree with that.
And just something else you said earlier, Tony, so going back and forth, a mentor can give information and it can become controlling, but it's also wise to watch what the individual that you're mentoring is doing, because if he's just feeding off of you and doesn't move on, because if Tony or if Mary, if Ida didn't say it, then I'm not doing it. Well, then we failed somewhere. Because we're supposed to equip you to move on your own, not to equip you to sit here and depend on anybody else.
Yeah.
And I also love, Ida, what we said about we can go through with no mentorship. We could possibly do it. But Jesus mentored 12. And then from those 12, he said, now you go forth and you mentor also. So you go also and disciple. So I believe that the reason that Jesus did this was because we can't do it on our own. I don't believe we can. I believe that even with mentorship, we are going to trip, we are going to stumble, but look at the world we live in. It was intended to do that because at the end of the day, should have been in the beginning of the day, we go back to God. It's supposed to always be, I need you. He is my source. So my real mentorship started when Christ was mentoring others, right? And then he set out the disciples to mentor the rest of us. So we all need that accountability, if you will, someone that would say, you're doing it wrong. Or would at least listen to you and say, okay, I want you to think about what you just said. And would you do that again? And if people say, yeah, I'll do it the exact same way. Okay, you're going to keep falling on your face. I'm still here for you. Still here for you. Maybe you need to fall on your face 10 times before you get it. And then they get up and they say, I can't believe I did it. I know this because I've lived it. So falling on your face 10 times, I was like, why didn't I just listen? Well, because I'm very stubborn. I'm hard-headed. And I think I have all the answers. I didn't. I don't. And I probably never will. But I'm a lot better than what I used to be, thanks to the mentorship.
Well, I think when you tell somebody that not to do exactly what you did, is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
No, don't keep doing the same thing you've been doing. So they come to you for help.
Okay.
And because they've been doing something that doesn't work for them, but they want to keep doing it. But you're mentoring them or guiding them. It's like, maybe rethink about what you've done. And they're like, no, I'm going to do it the exact same way again. Well, keep doing it then.
Okay.
You're going to keep falling on your face.
Well, no, the thing is, if it's a good thing, though, and they keep doing it, then
they would
I would want to
more
keep
like
doing it, because I was just wanting to understand that and clarify that, because when I was listening to you, it almost sounded like, don't keep doing what I'm doing.
Oh, no. Because Oh, okay. If they were doing the right thing, go for it. I don't think they would need mentorship.
No, that's the only, because I would take that as like, if somebody's doing something good, then.
No, if they're doing something good, keep doing it. Keep it up. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think continuing with that thought that you brought up just now, Mary, would be if you're mentoring someone and you're trying to counsel them and you see that if they don't want to be taking your advice, but they keep saying that they want to hear, what should I do now? What should I do now? But they keep wanting to do what they want to do. Don't exhaust all of your energy over this person.
Never work harder than them.
Exactly. That's a good point, because that otherwise you're going to end up frustrating yourself. You're going to be going through misery and feel that you're responsible for their lack of decisiveness.
Exactly.
You know, and I know I mentioned this on a podcast before, but because we're talking about mentorship, I think it's fitting to mention again, is that I heard from T.D. Jakes one time, and he said that when you mentor someone, he goes, one of the things that we do in mentoring, a lot of times when we mentor someone, we only show them the good that's going on in our lives. So they're looking up almost and saying, man, how can I even live that life? Yeah. But one of the things that you mentioned was mentoring, meaning letting men tour your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, so that they could turn around and see that, like almost how you mentioned how Pastor had to kind of go through hell to get to where he's at.
Exactly.
But now he can give good counsel because he successfully went through that and, you know, saw God bring him through it. And now he could turn around and mentor others. So,
so good.
when we're mentoring someone, it's always good to share, you know, some of the struggles that you went through, you know, to be vulnerable, but manage that vulnerability.
Exactly.
It's not that you have to spill everything, but enough for them to see that, hey, they can get there too, despite the mistakes or the situation they're in now. They can actually, you know, rise above their situation and what they're going through.
Exactly. That's so good. And just to close up, if you have it within you to become a mentor, big brother, big sister, just do it. Go out there and be able to feel someone pour into somebody else, because we've all gone through something, but it's amazing to see the growth in somebody else when we're able to pour into them. So we thank you so much for listening in today. Can't wait to speak to you guys again, and you guys have a beautiful day.